Okay, fans, there were three top 10 teams that were upset in week 10. Okay, three, which is kind of wild. But this has been a wild season, right? Honestly, there's only one that truly surprised me, and that was the Georgia Tech North Carolina State game. So let's get into it. But first of all, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Autumn, and I am back with another edition of As a Fan of College Football. This is where I cover college football related content through the eyes of a fan. Now, sometimes I feel like I have to explain this. When I say through the eyes of a fan, I am saying that I am not like an analytical expert. I don't really be, studying too many plays. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I love to watch college football. Love to see the electrifying play. Like all of this is just my jam. So I figure I would start a channel or continue on with this particular channel that I've had for a while and talk about it, like just simply through the eyes of a fan. It's all kind of my opinion. I mean, I put in, stuff here and there. I make sure I throw a couple of stats in here and there, but it's all my opinion. So knock it off and settle down and not too much on me when y'all come on here watching these videos. But anywho, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So yes, I cover college football through the eyes of a fan. Now, before we get super started, do me a solid and hit the like. I'm just trying to get the algorithm going the way that it needs to go. Okay, hit the like, hit the subscribe, because I mean, why wouldn't you hit the subscribe if you hit the like? The two go hand in hand, right? So do both, and then if you're really feeling it, go ahead and share the video. If you're not feeling it, share. Be like, man, look at what this dumb shit she talking about. I mean, it's cool. It's all right. I'm good with it. Whatever. Just share the video. And make sure you hit the notification bell, because that will allow you to be the first to know when I'm out here in these YouTube streets. And sorry, my voice, I don't know what's going on, y'all, but off and on these last few weeks, my voice has been giving me hell, but I'm still here. It is what it is. Now, real quick, number 9 Vanderbilt played number 20 Texas and lost. Okay. Arch was balling his ass off. Arch was balling his ass off. I can't even say that he wasn't. Texas came up with that win. It was a good fight. It was 31-34. But again, it upset. You actually got upset, right? And I did say a couple of weeks ago that we can't even call them upset you anymore, and I'm talking about Vanderbilt, because they're in the ranks of being upset, which is what happened, right? Do I think they're frauds? No. I think they're still doing pretty well, and I do think that they still, well, I don't know if they have a chance to get in the playoffs at this point. Either way it goes, they're doing they this has been a great season for them. Like, it's a win-win for them, if in my eyes. Like, they have come back and done what they could not do in like the last 70 years or something like that. So kudos to them. The other upset was number 10 Miami at SMU. The score was 20-26, and this was Carson Beck doing Carson Beck things. I was gonna have a whole video about it, but it just doesn't even make any sense to do. What did he do? He threw like 3 interceptions and then blamed somebody else for at least one of them, which is what he did the previous week when he threw 4 interceptions and he blamed the tight end or whatever. This time he said something along the lines of, they kept running the same play. I just did what was told, and that was that. Well, clearly, Carson Beck, you did not execute. Also, real quick, whatever happened to whatever happens to quarterbacks being able to make decisions on the fly? Because of course, yes, you're going to run the play that's called, you know what I'm saying? But if you know that play is not going to happen the way that it's supposed to, aren't you supposed to like adjust? Like, if you're not seeing whatever is supposed to be open, whatever receiver or whatever is supposed to be open, aren't you supposed to be able to be like, okay, let me switch this up? I don't know. I'm not a quarterback. I'm just a fan. I'm just saying, this is just what I see from the couch. Anywho's, I say all that to say, uh, an 8-0 Georgia Tech team who hadn't had this type of success since 1966 waltzed into Raleigh and got beat by unranked North Carolina State. College football is the best sport in all sports. I don't, because you just never know what's gonna happen. Even when you think you know, you never, like, who thought that Georgia Tech was gonna go to NC State and get beat? I sure didn't. You didn't think that either. Maybe NC State thought that, but y'all didn't think that. Like, don't do me like that. So like I'm just saying, like, be for real. Georgia Tech, be for real. Like, I feel like y'all should be a little ashamed of yourselves, even though it was, let's see, what was the score? It was 36-48. So I guess it wasn't like a super blowout, but it was by enough points. Like, y'all shouldn't have lost this game. So we saw Georgia Tech warming up last year, right? Did they beat, who did they beat? They beat somebody last year, and we were like, wow, like Georgia Tech really did that. And then they got on par this year, and they were just rolling. Like, I'm just like, wow, look at Georgia Tech, like they out here doing the damn thing. So I don't know if I was expecting them to like be undefeated as long as they were, because they definitely were. This was their first loss, but this was a surprising loss to me. It was very surprising. NC State put up a whopping 583 total yards and scored on 8 of 10 drives. 6 of those scores were touchdowns, with CJ Bailey going 24 of 32 for 340 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. That boy was balling. That boy was balling. And it's like, is does that mean that Georgia Tech's defense is, were they on vacation? Like, this boy was balling on them. Duke Scott for North Carolina State ran for a career best 196 yards as RB2, because he came in for injured Hollywood Smothers, and he contributed to the four total rushing touchdowns. So yeah, their RB1 was hurt. I think he got hurt last week or week before that or whatever. And this young man has stepped up and he's playing like RB1. And you know what? That's what I like to see. I like to see a depth chart that is good. Like, I like to see, if you take what number one out, number two gonna step in and do what needs to be done. Like, I love to freaking see it. So kudos to them. Now, and so, I want to know, how in the world did Haynes King for Georgia Tech go 25 of 35 for 408 yards, 2 touchdowns in a damn loss? That boy was balling. So it was the air show. Is that what happened? Like, it was just a total air show on both sides. Like, no, neither one of these defenses could stop the air game. That's what it seems like to me. That's what it seems like to me. It was clearly a offensive driven game on both sides, but Georgia Tech's defense seemed to lack the most in the red zone, because I think they scored on them a couple of times in the red zone. They just couldn't get right. So both of these teams are on a bye this week, and I just want to know, out of the 3 games that I mentioned, which one of these losses, Georgia Tech at North Carolina State, Vanderbilt at Texas, or Miami at SMU, are you guys thinking was the most shocking? I'm still gonna go with Georgia Tech at North Carolina State, because again, Vanderbilt Texas was gonna be a toss up, and because it just depends on who shows up for. It depends on which Arch Manning shows up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really what the game, because of course they built this whole team around him. So depending on what part of which Arch Manning shows up is that's how we gonna determine what the win is. And clearly the winning Arch Manning showed up that day. And then again, like I said, for Miami, I listen, Carson Beck and them damn interceptions, he can knock it off. He came into the season very strong. I was hopeful for him. He literally like decided not to go to the draft once came to Miami, and I'm thinking, his issues were finally cleared up. But this is just Carson Beck from Georgia all over again. So, and I've said this like for the past 2 weeks, but it still stands. It is what it is. So y'all let me know in the comments what it do. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about these three top 10 matchups that were upset. And that's really all I got. So until y'all hear me and see me again, peace.